Dennis Rader. He was Park City, Kansas's compliance officer, the man who came to your door with a tape measure if your grass grew an inch too long. And for over 30 years, he was also BTK, a serial killer who bound, tortured, and killed at least 10 people while sitting on his church council. He gave himself that name. He mailed it to the police himself, in his own words, in his own letters. He was, by every account, deeply boring. He was also strangling families across the same small city for 30 years. He seemed so normal, isn't a failure of perception. The normality was the mechanism. Compartmentalization, the ability to wall off one life from another, is exactly what let him do this and never get caught by the people closest to him. By the end, you'll understand why the mask worked and why he was such a nice, quiet man is the most common sentence in this entire genre. Before the badge, he installed home security systems for ADT, which meant he'd already been inside half the houses in town and knew exactly how their alarms worked and exactly how to beat them. Later came the compliance job, Park City's own enforcer of lawn heights and code violations, a badge that let him walk up to any door in town. The astonishing thing isn't that he hid it, it's how completely. A wife of decades, Paula, 2 children, a Cub Scout troop he led, a church council he presided over at Christ Lutheran. None of them saw it, because the 2 lives never touched. It started in January 1974 in a modest house on Edgemore Street in Wichita. The Otero family, Joseph, Julie, and 2 of their children, were found bound and strangled. He cut the phone lines before he went in. He brought his own rope, his own tools, what he later called his hit kit. 2 more of the Otero children came home to find their family. He watched from nearby as police arrived, and he kept a private trophy from the scene. That was his method for the next 3 decades. Bind, torture, kill. He chose those 3 words himself, and he was proud enough of them to put them in writing. And here's the detail that makes it land. He could go years between killings, sometimes nearly a decade, not because the urge left, but because the ordinary life genuinely got in the way. A job, school runs, a camping trip to plan, the same dull responsibilities that fill anyone's calendar were, for him, the thing standing between one murder and the next. And through all of it, he wrote letters to the police, letters to the news, hidden in cereal boxes and mailed from other towns, word puzzles, poems about his victims, a demand for media attention he never stopped chasing. He mailed some to the newsroom. He hid others in library books and roadside flyers, always careful, always anonymous, always signing off with the same 3 letters. Then, in 1979, he went silent. 25 years without a single word. That's compartmentalization taken to its limit. Most of us keep work and home in separate boxes. He kept a killer in one box and a scout leader in the other. And he managed both for over 3 decades. Then, in 2004, 30 years after the Oteros, he broke his own silence. Not out of guilt, out of ego. A journalist had written about the 30th anniversary of his first murders and named him a killer with no name. He wanted the credit, so he sent police a letter with a torn photocopy of a victim's license and word puzzles, taunting them for the manhunt they'd quietly given up on years earlier. It was the first mistake in 30 years, and it was entirely his own choice to make it. So the question isn't, how did nobody notice the monster? It's the opposite. There was no monster to notice. In 2005, he asked police in one of his letters whether a floppy disk could be traced back to him if he used one to send a message. They lied to him. They told him no, on the local news, on purpose. He believed them completely, and he mailed one in. Buried in the metadata was a deleted file, and inside that file, a church, Christ Lutheran, and a name, Dennis. 30 years of discipline undone by a piece of technology he never understood, and a hunger for recognition he could never quiet. Weeks later, he was arrested outside his own home. He was sentenced to 10 consecutive life terms. There was a tedious, rule-obsessed council official, and that was real, too. The horror isn't that he was secretly seething. It's that he genuinely wasn't. He could file the killing away and go back to measuring lawns. We want the evil to show. We want it on the face, in the eyes, something we'd catch. The uncomfortable truth this case leaves you with is that the mind is perfectly capable of keeping two completely separate people in one body and showing you only the boring one. He measured lawns for the same city he was terrorizing. He sat on a church council while the manhunt for him went cold twice. He seemed so normal. Isn't naivety. It's an accurate description of how it actually worked, right up until a floppy disk and his own ego ended it. Whether he ever felt an ounce of the guilt he never showed his family is a question only he could answer. The case file is open. Give me your verdict.